Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What's Really Going On in America.
Happy
Quinn
Tuesday,
here.
everyone. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Johnny here.
So, so I've been watching a whole lot of Charlie Cook and a bunch of shorts about abortion, especially. And I'm actually gonna. But before we get into this, if you want to support our work, get a Human Lives Matter T-shirt. The website's in the description. Um, and also, this is the 4-year anniversary since I had an official LLC to this day.
Oh, so 4-year anniversary since you asked the government permission to have a business.
Yeah, because why would it be alright to make money and make a life for myself? Oh, please, Mr. Government, I know it's my right to life, liberty, and property, but can I have permission? Exactly.
Sorry, you know me. Like I'm not a fan of permits. I think permits are bullshit. And yes, Florida man, permits are bullshit. Florida man agrees. Florida man says you should be able to have a business and just do it because you want to.
Yup. And so one of the major arguments. Oh, happy permission day.
I'm actually I just got a text message. I'm pretty sure Leaf is at the bar right now, like watching us. Like he's out for Taco Tuesday, and he's like, "Oh crap, we're podcasting." So he's on at the bar watching.
Yup. And then of course, so now let's dive into this one video from a friend in Texas who had a conversation with this guy on her shorts. Let me. Ooh, boy. I. Sorry, everyone. This is. This thing is so stupid sometimes.
Technology is a wonderful, wonderful thing when it
Isn't
works.
it?
When it works, in my
Yes, it
case,
is.
if it works.
Remember, if I had. Huh. So hopefully it's in my history. Okay, here we go. Now let's do this again.
Well, the top three things I'm gonna say is I like how Trump knows that a man cannot become a woman, as opposed to somebody like Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who apparently think that a man can become a woman if he cuts his genitalia off. I liked how Trump knows the truth. Okay. Another thing that I support Trump on is his intent to close the border, because I don't appreciate America being ran through like a whore. I think that's very disgusting and deplorable. And
Let me ask you a question. Do you got food stamps? Do you take food
no, I
stamps?
don't. No,
You got food
no, not
stamps? You know
anymore.
anybody got food
I
stamps?
used to. No, but I don't. My husband makes too much now. Oh, he left? He thought he ate. He thought he ate. I'm crying.
Oh, okay, maybe that wasn't the video. Well, you know what? I can find. Let me try to find it on. Let's see if I can find it on the Instagram. Sorry about this, everyone.
Anybody who's ever used social media knows stuff just disappears.
Here we go.
Hello?
Hi, Will.
Hello? Hey, how you doing?
I'm great.
Okay, so just like the last caller, I'm going to be very respectful. I don't think it's right for people to tell you how to wear your hair or what to believe. That's your God-given right.
Yay.
Technology.
It's freaking wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I do have an opinion on this from a medical standpoint. So you you feel that if a person gets pregnant, whether they get raped, whether they make a poor decision in life, end up having a baby, even if they don't want it, whether it gives them health risk and they have the possibility of dying, that they should just bring the baby in the world and they have the prerogative to decide to parent it or not. And if they don't, they can leave it in the world to be however they want it to be. Because if I make a mistake, if I get raped and I'm a woman and I decide that I don't want to live looking at that baby knowing what happened, and I decide to move on. And now that baby has to live in this world. I don't know if you've talked to kids that are adopted. Some people have great lives, some people don't. Depends on how on that individual. So now that person is forced to go through life all because people are pro-life for an embryo that does not actually have consciousness yet.
Yeah, I hear
What do you
you.
think about that?
You know what, Will? Me personally, I just feel like a baby that was conceived out of rape shouldn't receive a death sentence. I stand on
Okay, but maybe a death. Okay, so some people feel like death is is kind of a blessing in comparison to some people's life.
Yeah, you know, some people
Well,
worship.
think about it.
Some people do a lot of demonic things that I don't stand by. You know,
I understand that. I understand that, but
well, that's not of God.
well, I mean, God is of everything. Everything good and everything bad is of God
It's
because
not of Christ.
but everything in life God creates. So if God
Right? Create.
knows all and He made okay, so if God creates all and He knows all, then He knew that evil was going to come. He knew that angels was going to fall and people were going to make bad decisions, and there was a purpose in it all. It doesn't mean that we should make the decision on what, okay, if every day was a sunny day, then what's a sunny day? If everything was good, then how would you appreciate what's good if there was never any bad? So, how would you be smart? How would you learn to be better at something if you never fail? So, my whole point in saying that is everything in life has a purpose and has a meaning. And it doesn't, just because you feel a certain way about life based on your perspective, doesn't mean there's some people that live on this earth who were forced into that position. They didn't get the chance to have a mother and father because maybe their mother and father didn't want them. So now you force them to be born. Now they have a crappy life. No, anything could happen. I'm just having you look at both perspectives.
Oh,
I don't agree on.
trust me, Will. I've heard both perspectives a million billion people. This is a very common argument that I get, and all I will say is, it seems like the concern that you have about the baby's outlook on life, the questions you have are to God. Okay, not to me. Because God is the one who created the pregnancy. God is the one who allowed the baby to be conceived. So
I
all these
disagree.
concerns of people, you disagree that God creates life?
I disagree. God created life, but God created life to duplicate itself. He didn't create the life. You created it when you had the baby. If you fix something to
What do
eat.
you mean had?
Wait, no, no, hold on. Hold on.
Sir,
Hold on.
no
If
need to
you
scream. Hold on. Let's not.
Oh no, I apologize. I didn't mean it in an aggressive way. I apologize. I
All
didn't
right.
mean it in an aggressive way. If you make a decision to take action to fix a sandwich, God did not create that sandwich. If you make a decision to if you
Listen,
hold on,
I hear where
hold
you're
on.
going. Listen, I appreciate the analogies, but I just want to keep it very simple, okay? God, do you
That
think
is
that
very
God is the
simple.
creator of life? Yes or no?
Yes, God is the creator of all
All
life.
right. So, because God is the creator of life, do you think that we, as His creations, have the right to destroy said life?
Well, you didn't say that if you ate a steak. That used to be an animal. Plants are life.
God gave us dominion over the plants and animals, though. We're talking about humans.
And he gave us dominion over the earth to make a decision.
But God
He
also
gave us
said,
free will.
do not murder. What commandment is that?
He said what?
Do not murder.
He said, thou shalt not kill.
Murder.
Okay, but murder, you have to be alive. What's the definition of what is a life? Because basically your body
You should
is
look up
home to a bunch of different organisms.
You should look up murder.
I mean, but murder, okay, but murder, you'd have to be a sentient, conscious being. An embryo is not. An embryo, there are amoebas that have more action than the embryo. So you have to define what you mean by life.
I think
Everything, I mean, like,
Mr. Will, listen. The truth is written on your heart. Okay? You know what's right and what's wrong. We can sit here and have this debate, but honestly, I feel like it's a waste of time. Okay? If you are okay with
that's because you,
if you are okay with destroying the life that was created by God, that's on you. But me, I don't stand for that. And I do not feel like my tax dollars as a voter should be going towards these things. Now, if women want to kill their children, there are back alleyways, there are hangers, okay? But the tax dollars coming out of my husband's checks, I don't think so. And so that's why I'm on Vigo and on other social media platforms encouraging women to close those legs unless it's to their husbands. Because creating these broken homes and killing all these kids on my dime ain't it. So listen, Mr. Will, I have somebody else in my box. I'm going to move on, but I appreciate you for the pretty kind dialogue, okay? Thank you so much.
all right.
Thank you.
Okay. So, oh, hold up. Let me take this off. All right. So,
You're about to get some words.
so,
So
um,
I'm gonna take the lead on this one only because both of them had very very contradictory arguments. So does God create life? If you are a religious person, you're going to agree that God creates life, and you're also going to say that you should not murder. And I am 100% against abortion. I really am. I'm also not in the position where I'm ever going to be put in a position to make a decision to end the life of anybody. Hopefully. I'm going to tell you this right now though. The thing I don't like about her argument is when he brought up is if somebody is raped and becomes pregnant because of that. Like that's the reason why Rick Santorum lost his race many years ago. Because accepted as a gift from God. Being raped is not a gift from God. Being pregnant because of said rape is not a gift from God, and being forced to carry a child from the rapist is not a gift from God. Now, one of the things that I feel that conservatives do lack on is once that child is born, we have zero support structure because, like, hey, if somebody is, raped on their way home from work and becomes pregnant from that, they're not in the position, like, they didn't say, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna go home from work and get pregnant because somebody decided that their needs were more important than my liberty to not be raped. But I I'm also I'm going to tell you right now. I don't have children, but if I had a daughter and she was raped and she was forced to carry a a child full term and then raise that child because of rape, there will be a loss of life. So if my child can't make that decision to terminate, there will be a termination of life in this equation. I will find the rapist and I will remove that person from the planet. I don't even I don't know how to make this sound like even remotely not threatening. It's why I'm smoking right now. Like I am trying to like do this in a manner that does not come off as like a psychopath. But like you touch my kids, I will fucking kill you. Like that. Like even my stepchildren. Like those are my own. Those are my kids. You touch them, I will unalive you so fast, and I will brag about it, and I will not lose a single ounce of sleep over it. So I really fucking despise. I'm sorry for the words, but like I'm very like upset over the fact that like we use that as like some sort of litmus test. Like, oh well, you just need to put up with it. Yeah, rapists aren't people. They're just like pedophiles. They're not people. You can throw them from helicopters into wood chippers and play like like it's like hit the target. Just the target's a wood chipper. But no, I'm. This is one of those things where Quinn and I were kind of trying to like talk about this before we like went live. Like, there's a middle ground on a lot of things. If you make a bad decision, it should not end up in the life being taken from somebody, whether it be an unborn child. Like that's where I'm at. Like, hey, you made decisions that led to this. However, if a fucking rapist decides that they're gonna go do like scumbag things, it should not, that responsibility should not be put onto the person who was assaulted. Because I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of like weird like that. Like, if you come into my house right now and like try to rob me, guess what's gonna happen? You made a decision. You came through the door, and you're gonna leave in a bag. Like that's just how it's going to be.
Are you frozen?
No, I'm good. I think they're upset with me.
Okay.
The powers that be are probably upset.
Well,
I said
my,
too many. I said too many
I
words
would
in a threatening manner.
say, well, no matter, well, for people who use well, the child may have such a terrible life. I had a very rough childhood from the beginning, without knowing it, all the way into my teens, until I came to Allentown, where the only guy who who I was in the foster care system with was the only one that actually cared about me. But before him, everyone else didn't care. And and let me tell you, and yeah, there was some abuse in between. There were some who were just stupid. There were those who were abusive, physically, mentally, and all that. And I trusted nobody. But am I glad to be alive? Yes. Do I still have a tough life now? Yes, I do. But am I glad to be here? Yes, I am. Because I'm living proof that abortion, using, so someone will grow up and have a rough life, does not have to, is not a good excuse to have an abortion for any reason whatsoever. If I had a daughter and she was raped, I don't have kids, but if I did and she was raped, I would bring her to organizations that would help us through all this. There's I forgot the name of it, but Candace Owens said it a few times, where they actually help kids. They help the people who are pregnant get everything they need,
Oh,
and you can
it's actually
and
it's actually a
they
very
have a donation of $28 a month.
yes, it's actually a good organization. I actually agree with what they're doing. It's called Preborn. Um, you
Yes.
yes. So that's what we need more of. Like I'm like I said, I'm 100% anti-abortion. It's just we don't have the support structure to I don't know help people that are in bad positions. I mean,
Well, that's because the
I mean,
government's
look,
taking it all for us.
well, because the government freaking sucks. All right, like I mean, like it's Quinn. Every topic we talk about, it really comes down to one thing: government sucks. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yes.
And
And then they subsidize the Planned Parenthood over people who are trying to give life to people.
like, and that's the thing. Like, so I mean, you know me. Like, I deep dive in everything. I got a little bit of the autism, and I find a topic, and I go down the rabbit hole. Planned Parenthood as a whole is actually kind of good for society. They provide contraception. They actually do help people. It's not just the abortion side of it that like the Sean Hannitys of media put out there. They do a lot of good things. Like they do the ultrasounds. They help with prenatal. They help people in so many
But
different ways. It's like
but here's the thing.
but we focus on that one thing. And yes, you're right. I don't want my tax dollars going to it. But at the same time, it's like the people who are the most vocal about it are very anti helping the child after it's born. And that's where
Well,
that's why I said like that company the NGO the nonprofit Preborn. That's where they come into play. They say, "Okay, we
well,
understand there is a gap and not wanting an abortion and getting that child proper care so they don't just become either dead or a problem. So we need to somehow bridge that gap between, hey, let's not kill babies, and then can we figure out a way to make sure that these kids have the opportunities that most people have other than just being a burden because I'm personally, I'm tired of Plan B being Plan A because I'll just if I get knocked up, I'll just take the pill. Like, no, that's kind of stupid. Um, again, I'm not in a position. I'm going to reiterate this throughout this podcast tonight. I am not in a position where I will ever be put in where I have to make a decision. Gina can't get pregnant. I rode sport bikes my entire life. I'm pretty sure between the two of us, none of our fun bits work. So we're not having kids. We adopt cats. So like we're kind of lucky in that scenario. But like it doesn't change the idea that like we have our convictions that like, hey, you probably shouldn't kill kids. It's but I don't know. It's just
well,
it's
uh,
such a complicated scenario. Like because it's like, oh well, what about this or what about that? And then then the brain starts working and then guess what? You know what? I'm actually happy that you guys have these convoluted, discussions with yourselves because, hey, we have a topic for a Tuesday podcast now. Yeah, it's nobody wants to keep it simple. And all we're trying to do is like, hey, what makes the most sense?
Well, here's a question for you. Do you know why fast food employees are told to push value meals?
I mean, well, Americans are fat fucks, so I mean,
Well, yeah, but the number one reason is because they don't make their money off the sandwiches. They make it off the fries and the drinks that
oh
cost
yeah,
pennies,
oh yeah,
and they sell it for mass dollars. And,
yo,
and
yeah, that makes
so, in the
100%.
same way, Planned Parenthood, Planned Parenthood push it may do all the good things, but the ultimate goal is to gain more abortions. That's their goal in their organization because that's where they make their money. They don't make the money off ultrasounds and all the good stuff. They want they make the money off killing the child, and that's why I don't want my money to support them. That's why I'll speak out against them because all they care about is the money, just like the FDA, USDA, and all them. And and then of course liberals. No matter how much you tell the leftists um, all the facts, every given scientific fact. And by the way, I would just like Caitlin Bennett. I was an I was an atheist as a pro-lifer before I even knew there was a God. Before I even knew anything religious. Back when I was 4 to 6, I was totally pro-life without God. So I don't. So when the leftists say, "Oh, you're just making a religious stance," it's like I started as an atheist, and I was looking at the science, pure science. That's all I had to go on. So, so all their arguments that they state goes down the toilet. So
Oh, see,
yeah.
now
So
we're gonna completely flip the script because I just made an argument that made me sound very, accepting of abortion. Well, leftist, since you like to go down the rabbit hole and pick up, on history, on where things come from, and we can't do this thing or buy this thing or own this thing because of things that happened in the past. Do you know where Planned Parenthood came from? Do you guys? I bet you don't. What was her name? Margaret Sanger, um, and was using the organization to push for the abortion of. Oh wait, hold on. There's this protected class of people. Um. They have skin that's a little bit darker than ours. Oh, that's right. We were trying to kill black children. Yes, that's where Planned Parenthood came from. So if you want to nitpick about, oh, well, something happened in the past, we don't like that, maybe, just maybe, look into the history of these, these places that, I don't know, you support. Because, it's no different than right now. Like, oh, we can't buy a Tesla because, Elon Musk is a Nazi. But meanwhile, you're driving a freaking Volkswagen. Does anybody know where Volkswagen came from? The scary mustache man himself literally went to the, I don't know, this guy named Ferdinand Porsche and said, hey, can you make a car that's cheap and affordable so everybody can have it? You know what Volkswagen means? The people's car. Yeah. So if you drive a Volkswagen, you're a fucking Nazi. By your own definition. So, yeah, I don't see any criticism of Volkswagen, the largest auto manufacturer on the planet. But yet we're totally okay with supporting Planned Parenthood because women's rights. Okay, cool. Well, women's rights is apparently based on the death of killing black kids in the ghettos.
Yes,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
and what's
It's not
funny
even
is
it's
too.
not even hidden history. Like it is completely out there in the open. Like all I ask, like if you're gonna criticize, just just be just be even, about it. You know, hey, you just watch me do like a essentially a pro-abortion rant because I'm trying to be unbiased about it. So hey, wait, they do good things. Well, guess what? Chances are, if I'm going to tell you all the good things you did, that means I also know the bad things you've done. I am here to ruin your day. I don't even care what you believe in. I'm just here to like make things difficult. I woke up this morning and I decided I'm not going to be part of the problem. I'm going to be the whole problem.
And it's funny too that in a rape case, they will push to execute the unborn child, but but the criminal, they will fight for their survival. They will fight for him to have life, and it's like that's a little bit backwards. For me, it's execute the rapist and let the child live.
The
And
irony of
and,
that
and
entire
we
thing
as a
is
community, and we as a community should be loving another, which no government on earth does. So giving taxes, giving more money to the government does nothing for us to begin with, except make them richer. So and but the only reason why the government wants abortion is because it makes them money.
the irony of the it's just a clump of cells argument that I hear all the time
Hmm.
is when a pregnant woman is killed. It does the murderer go on trial for the death of one person or two?
Always too, it's considered double homicide by law.
Funny how
So
that works, right? It's really funny how that works. When there's a murder, now there's two lives at stake. But yet any other time, it's just a clump of cells.
eh,
That's the thing. Like I cannot comprehend because like all I hear all the time is like, oh, it's a clump of cells. Okay, cool. Do you believe that all the time?
but so what you?
Even in a murder case? Because guess what? You're advocating that that person killed two people because that woman was pregnant. Well, no, it's not. Well, it's you either believe that that unborn child, is a human and is a life, or you don't. Because right now you're making me very confused because you can't differentiate. Oh, well, something bad happened. You stupid humans. Is it or is it
Yeah,
not a life?
and and you can only pick one, and you have to be one consistent at all times. And this is where the leftists are super inconsistent with their arguments, because
Yes.
they'll say, because I was actually told once by a leftist, um, well, it's a double homicide because it was the choice of the mother that it was life. And it's like, so now life is based on a mother's decision? Um, that's inconsistent. And that's not science, that's feelings.
Maybe that's why I have such an odd outlook on everything because I have no feelings. I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, I don't even have a heart. Like, I have a second stomach where my heart should be. But I don't know. I like to think like I have like some logic going on. It's just I watch the arguments. Like I scour excuse me. I scour the internet and I just read the comment section. I'm like, you're all a bunch of retards. And if you're offended by that term, sorry. And by sorry I
Yeah,
mean
go.
and by sorry I mean not even a little bit. Because like
Well,
you are clinically deranged if you don't understand that like these comment sections make no sense. I think a lot of people just argue for the sake of arguing, and like you don't actually have any core values, and I think that's the biggest problem that we have. Like Quinn has core values. I have my core values. Do we align on 100% of things? Absolutely not. Guess what? That's actually the whole premise of why we do this, because I like to talk to Quinn because Quinn has views that differ from mine. And I think it's the same in the opposite. We talk with each other because guess what? We're learning. But we're also not out there like spewing dumb shit because uh you know, Quinn, how much news do you watch? Probably not a lot.
a ton actually, and it's never in, and it's way too much. However, I do like a lot of what Trump's doing, trying to defund Planned Parenthood. That's one of the biggest wins we could have for our paychecks. And you know what? I say this to the leftists: if you want to support Planned Parenthood, don't do it with our tax money. Do it with your own money, freely and willingly. Do not be expecting the government to steal from us to give to them, because many of us do not want to support it, and you can't. And you know what fascism really is? It's making us who do not want to support it through forced taxation.
Yeah, exactly. And volunteerism. That's a thing. Um Anybody who doesn't understand that, Google it. It's pretty simple. I like a thing. I think a thing needs money. I voluntarily give that thing my money. That's it. That's
Exactly.
literally it. Because
I
meanwhile,
rather
we
freely give my money to Oath, Operation Address the Homeless, down the street from where I live.
bingo. Or we could tell me why companies like Preborn don't get tax dollars.
Because
I mean,
saving
if we're
doesn't make
going if
money.
we're going to be fair about it, if there's two competing companies that are one's like, hey, let's kill babies, the other one's like, hey, we should probably not kill babies. Why do they not get equal taxpayer support? Because Preborn's not forcing anybody to carry a baby. They're giving you ultrasounds. They're letting you hear the heartbeat. They are giving you alternatives. So why is one option totally okay, but the other one's like, nope, can't give any money to that. Now, I'm not a fan of giving tax dollars to freaking anybody because, well, I mean, every tax dollar they give away, guess what? They stole from somebody. Oh, shocking. But since we're never going to get away from that, how about we say, all right, well, Planned Parenthood gets a dollar, then Preborn should get a dollar. Because guess what? They're all trying to do the same thing. Preborn
And I'd
has
rather have
Preborn,
my money go to preborn.
and I it's like I said, I don't want it's now we're kind of like splitting hairs. Like it's actually kind of like the screwed up thing that's going on with like the budget right now. Like, oh well, we're totally okay with spending all this money because my guy's doing it, or it's going to something that I care about. I would like to see no tax dollars ever. And if you're a politician, you're like, oh well, I want to spend $100 billion on this thing. Okay, cool. Well, get your cronies there in Washington. And, you go out there and you sell bonds like we used to do, and you have to sell it to the public. not just, oh, by the way, everybody's taxes are going up 5% because we're a bunch of fucking idiots, and we're just gonna spend a bunch of money that on things that you don't know about. Um, but hey, you know what? Whatever. It's
And
2025.
then we're gonna keep, and then through all your tax money, we're gonna keep 10% for our own bank accounts.
Well, no. We don't do any of that, Quinn. Not at all. We just found some kind of weird loophole around insider trading, and somehow we're gonna figure out a way to loop all of this money back into our bank accounts. It's totally legal. It's totally legal. If your person's doing it, um, usually Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, I got my eyes on you. I'm probably gonna download that app and start investing in the stock market because apparently, Quinn, have you heard some kid like does made some like AI thing that like alerts you to like whatever stock trades Nancy Pelosi does.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Didn't even hear about it.
yeah. I think I'm going to get on board with that because it obviously worked out well for her and her family.
Boy, I would like that. I would like to make that money myself.
I mean, look, what's she worth now?
Uh,
Yeah, Leaf. I get it. It goes right back to if my side does it, it's perfectly okay. Um, it just I'm I don't know if you can tell. I am absolutely just upset with the way like the whole. Well, if my side does it, it's okay. It's like I'll tell you right now. If Joe Biden was doing the tariff shit that's going on right now, the Republicans would be in the streets like burning shit down. Like that's just what's going on. That's honestly what would be going on. But because their Lord and Savior Orange Florida guy is doing it, it's perfectly okay. And like,
well, this
look,
is
like I get what's going on. Like I 100% get it. Like, okay, we need to have these conversations where like tariffs are bullshit. Like to me that's the end game. Tariffs are stupid. You buy what you need from me, I buy what I need from you. If an American company wants to like say, "Oh, I'm going to save on labor because I'm going to send it over to China because I'm perfectly okay with slavery if it's little yellow people with tiny eyes doing it." Tariff the shit out of them. Do it. Like
you
it's no
know,
different than like Ford. Like,
and
you know,
you
oh
know,
well, I'm going to build my pickup trucks in freaking Mexico to save $9 a pickup truck because, well, we're also not going to acknowledge the fact that, oh, well, in America, well, I have to pay somebody $40 an hour to sweep the floor. They have no skill, and maybe I can't build a truck as efficient here. But it's like at the same time, it's like, all right, cool. Well, you know what? You built your manufacturing plant in Mexico or in South America, wherever you decided to do so. I'm looking at you, American manufacturers, because I want a pickup truck that doesn't cost $100,000. But yet you send it off to your low cost labor places. You have all your parts built in third world countries for essentially slave labor, but yet you're still gonna charge me the cost of a house to buy a freaking truck. Where's my benefit?
go figure.
Like I'm okay. I mean, I'm not. I'm not okay with the idea of $100,000 pickup truck. But like the idea is like, all right, things increase in cost, whatever. But like at least if I go out to the Dodge dealership and I say, okay, I'm gonna buy this Dodge Ram diesel. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It'll tow the earth. If I hit the throttle, it'll spin the earth backwards. It's so freaking awesome. Is my $100,000
Well,
going into the pockets of Americans? No, it is not. So screw you, American manufacturers. There's
eh,
my middle finger.
yep. Every and and when you going back to it's okay if your team's doing it. The tribalism needs to end for sure.
Yes.
If if Biden would have done good, I would have more respect for him. If Obama did good, I would have more respect for him. I will, however, give Obama's administration a little bit of credit where the Bushes had higher gas prices, like before Biden. Um, he did manage to get influence the gas prices to go down during his administration. The only problem is he added a new tax to make up for it. That's the one thing I did not like. And of course the Bushes had the second highest gas prices next to Biden, because I never seen it $5 a gallon in Pennsylvania before. It like I mean,
Her
under Bushes it was at least four. So
right after Hurricane Katrina, it was I was paying a little over $5 a gallon, and like I was riding a motorcycle that got 45-ish miles per gallon, and it was still costing me like fucking $50 a week to commute to work. Yeah, I mean, but that was Katrina. That was, remember the whole George Bush hates black people era.
yeah, so we can't just vote someone in because they're in our party. And that's uh, Trump was my second choice next to Randall Terry, because I like Randall Terry's support for pro life entirely, 100%. Where Trump said, "Oh, just give it to the states and let the states decide," which I think was more of a political move than
Oh, 100%.
just, "Hey, this is my stance on it." And of course, the Democrat, of course, Kamala Harris said, "Oh boy, Trump's abortion state, anti-abortion states, is like no." He washed his hands completely of it,
Yes.
but but I but that's why he got my second choice. And although I didn't like that, I do like many other things that he's done for this country: deportation, mass loads, and and it doesn't matter if you're black, brown, or even white skin. Even if you're white skin, you come from a you come from another country, you know, illegally come here. I want you deported, even if you have the same skin color as me, because especially if you're a hard criminal, um, because this country needs to be cleaned up first before we accept any more immigrants, and and the criminals ruin it for all.
Well, I mean, that's just kind of how it works at all levels. Like your idiots are gonna ruin it for everybody, and I mean, that's pretty much been America since its foundation. Like you got a couple of jerk offs in the group, and they're just gonna ruin it for everybody. And then they do that, and the next thing you know, we got Democrats, and you know, oh well, 343 people a year are killed by a rifle, so we have to ban all of them. Meanwhile, 1,000 plus people are killed per year with a hammer. I can go on Amazon right now and have a hammer here tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, Trump sent it. So Trump's logic to put it to the states was it was a non-answer. He never actually gave an opinion on it. He said it's the states' rights. The reason he did that was to win the election, because if he came out hardcore against it, he would have lost. Um, he would have appeased a core voter base, but it wouldn't have been enough people to win the election. And we constantly talk about, oh well, states' rights, states' rights, states' rights. Okay. everybody has an opinion on states' rights, depending on what they're arguing for. So when it comes to, like, say, for example, gun laws, like look at places like West Virginia. In the state of West Virginia, did you know? You can build and sell NFA items, suppressors, machine guns, and as long as they don't leave the state, they are technically not regulated by federal law. So the National Firearms Act of 1934 does not apply to them. The Gun Control Act 1968 doesn't apply to them. The Hughes Amendment of 1986 does not apply to that. So that's where the right wingers want to come in to say, oh, well, states' rights. But again, it's all about, like, what are we talking about? Who's arguing for it? And yeah, states' rights. That's what he did. He's like, I'm not touching this. It's your problem. And
Well,
that was a political move. Yes, would it have been nice to have an opinion on it? Kind of. Do I think the federal government should have any say in that? No. So at the same time, it's like, hey, you lazy son of a bitch, and also like, right, you are taking all of it out of the federal government and you're putting it back onto the states where it should be, because federal government, in my opinion, should protect us. That's it. That's all. Like,
well,
you don't tell me what to do. If Pennsylvania wants to have gay clowns riding unicycles on Thursdays as a law, then guess what? Then they can do that. If Texas says, we're going to ride horses down the street while shooting AK-47s at stop signs, guess what? That's their right as a state. It's just kind of like, where do you guys want to draw the line? You don't have anything, because like what Trump did is like, it's up to you guys. And everyone's like, crap, now we got to make a decision. We can't blame somebody else for where we're at.
well, now I'm gonna give some final thoughts, and
Oh
then
shit! I didn't even realize it was that time already.
yeah, well, my final thoughts is abortion is murder, and it should be illegal everywhere. It should be the same penalty as if I came to your house and shot you in the head, and killed you. That the penalty should be exactly the same. It should have never been just given to the states. I trust in Randall Terry, who ran under the Constitution Party for president, and his stance is total abortion, um, total ban. Consider it murder, and because people have the right to life, liberty, and property, life under the Fifth and 14th Amendments. If people were to look it up, I follow a what you call it, atheist, pro-life atheist page on Facebook, and there's a few of them, and they and all they have is science. So if you're thinking that all pro-lifers are religious in nature, they are not. Caitlin Bennett was accused of being religious in one of her shows before becoming a Catholic. And guess what? She was pro life as an atheist. She even said, and I quote her words, I'm an atheist. So that to me gave, so that to me says a lot, that not every stance is a religious nature, but rather science. And those leftists who say we deny science because we don't believe a man can become a woman and woman can become a man, they're denying science, all for the love of murder. And that is my final take. And you get yours.
So the reason why I'm torn on this whole thing is, I mean, you know me, I'm primarily libertarian in nature, and you know, again, I'm when it comes to the kids, I'm pro life, but at the same time, it's like if my life is threatened, I feel it's also my right to remove that life that is threatening mine. So it's like I'm it's like this brain scramble mental conundrum of at what point does the life stop mattering? It's kind of like the same thing like with the vegetarians and the vegan people. Like oh well, at what level of cuteness does the animal not become food? Things like that. Like I love eating meat, and you know what? I love cows. Have you ever pet a cow? Petting cows are amazing. They are amazing creatures. But you know what? I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Cow. You're kind of delicious, and it's it's such a gray area. Everything's a gray area because we have gotten to that point in society where we have blurred the line of right versus wrong, acceptable versus not acceptable so many times that we can't have a conversation like this. Like what we just did in the last hour, it's almost like it's not permitted. Like I feel like we have just committed some kind of societal sin by having this conversation tonight. I I Quinn, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I really wish I did. I wish there was something that we could come up with that makes sense, and where everybody's kind of viewpoint can be addressed without the harm of human life. I'm not a fan of the harm of human life. And you just talked about killing pedophiles and rapists. They're not humans, okay? I'm going to clarify that once more. That's my final thought. Pedophiles and rapists are not humans. They are not people. They are not animals. They should be thrown from helicopters into wood chippers. But what we were talking about here
Remember
tonight,
the Eighth Amendment.
I just want to throw pedophiles out of helicopters, okay? All right, you know what? That's my American dream. If I hit the lottery, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy a helicopter and a big ass freaking wood chipper. All right, kiss my ass, Quinn. Don't take this from me. This is America, damn it. And guess what?
Well,
And we're gonna podcast from the helicopter. I'm telling you right now. That's a promise to you. But no,
all right.
we're in that position right now where every conversation is way more complex than we want it to be, and here we are every Tuesday having conversations about these complex things, and we're probably not going to change the world, but guess what? It makes us feel better because at least we're talking about it.
Yep. Well, everyone, it was great having everyone on the show tonight. And if you want to support our work while making human lives matter, these are awesome shirts. Look at the unity between me and Johnny in spite of our differences. And
We're not that far apart.
and tomorrow I will have, if you follow my Facebook or Instagram business page, I will have a coupon for 20% off. And so be watching out for that tomorrow. And we want to wish you a good night.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Enjoy your week. Weather's, well, if you're in Pennsylvania at least, the weather's finally looking like May. Or, oh, wait. Oh, shit. We're in June, aren't we? Damn it.
Later, everyone.